Good morning. So today on our road trip, we woke up still in Vegas at a different Planet Fitness parking lot. And if you watch my channel for a while, you might recognize this place because I actually did film a video here a while back. But this parking lot actually has a pretty nice view of the Las Vegas Valley. So I parked right here, backed up to it last night, and this is where we slept. But now that we're getting back in the swing of things in the van after flying home for the weekend, I think it's time to get a move on, get out of Vegas, and continue on our journey. That was loud. So the reason that I'm at a different Planet Fitness parking lot tonight is because I got this, had to fold it down because it has a phone number on there, placed on my van's windshield at that other Planet Fitness I was parked at. So I guess they didn't like very much that I was staying there, which is understandable. So we moved to a different location. But last night I got a good workout in, got a shower, feeling good, feeling clean, feeling ready to continue on. And I'm actually going to the gym more often because I'm preparing for a half marathon that I have to run in May. And I'm shooting for 10-minute miles, which for me would be exceptional because I'm not a runner, I'm not good at running, and I actually hate running. So I'm trying to get in the gym and do some more running, which is actually a pretty good segue into something that is pretty important that I actually need to talk about. So last night I was up till 1 or 2 a.m. trying to plan out my trip, plan out the route that I'm taking and where I'm going in Alaska, where I'm going to be going for the next 2 months on my way to Alaska, things I'm going to check out, parks I'm going to go to, and things I'm going to see. And when I was researching, there were just a ton of places that were either closed for the winter or inaccessible due to snow, and the weather for the next few weeks just doesn't look too good. So I need your guys' help on making a decision for where I should go and what I should do. But before I do that, I gotta give you a little backstory so you can understand where my thought process is. I actually need to re-up on some coffee real quick. So essentially from the start of this trip, my plan has been to be in Alaska by late April and then be back in the States by early May to make it to that marathon that I have to go to. And then I also have a family vacation planned at the end of May that I'm going on as well. So essentially, if there's any inclement weather or any reason that something is closed, I won't be able to wait it out and then go check it out because I am on a time crunch to get to Alaska and then back to the States by the start of that marathon. And with everything being closed and doing my research last night, it seems like I'm going to have to skip out on a ton of stuff. Like Yosemite is closed, the Tetons are inaccessible, Bryce Canyon, the main road is closed, Banff, I'm not going to be able to do a lot of things because it's cold and the lakes are still going to be frozen, so I won't be able to do any catch and cooks or anything cool like that. And I was just getting to thinking last night that since this trip is to kind of try to showcase America and all of its beauty, it wouldn't do it much justice to skip over a lot of the cool spots and then kind of miss out on a lot of off-road and camping opportunities just because there's snow and there's mud on the ground. So basically I have two options, and there will be a poll listed in the description below where you can go vote for what you want me to do. And essentially those two options are: one, I can press on, skip over a bunch of stuff and a bunch of cool spots, make it to Alaska by the end of April, do my half marathon in May, go on my family trip, and then continue on with the channel as regularly once I get back. Or I can travel around America for a few months up until my marathon in May, do my marathon, travel with my girlfriend back to Las Vegas in southern Utah where I am now for 3 or 4 weeks, and essentially at the beginning of May start over my trip from where I am right now, and then make my way up through Alaska, checking out all the cool spots along the way. And then kind of in between southern Utah and making my way north to Alaska, I go on my family vacation, which I have a couple Vanlife trips planned in Iceland where I'm going to film a bunch of videos, so there will be a quick intermission in between that, but I'll be able to check out all the cool places along the way and showcase them while I'm driving, as opposed to going up, circling back, and kind of hitting all those places. So if you guys would be so kind as to go into my link that's in the description that has a link to the poll where you can cast your vote on what you want me to do, that would be really helpful because I feel extremely bad at my lack of planning and really thinking this trip out thoroughly with the weather and the time of year that I was going. And I think I might have just gotten a little bit too ambitious, but we are going to make it to Alaska regardless of what we do. It's just a matter of when and how you guys want to see things. So click that link in the description and vote below and we'll figure it out. In the meantime though, while I wait for the results of that poll and to really figure out what I'm doing, I'm going to press on north and check out a few spaces while I wait for this video to get uploaded and you guys to vote. And then sometime next week, we will figure out what the actual plan is. But we got our coffee, we've had our shower, and we've spent our morning at this kind of beautiful Planet Fitness parking lot. So I think it's time to get driving, and today we are heading just about 2 hours north, just outside of Zion National Park in Hurricane, Utah, to camp for the night on some BLM land and cook some really good dinner. But before we do that, I have to run to the grocery store real quick, which is actually like just around the corner. I think that's it right there from this Planet Fitness, and pick up a few ingredients because I did do some general grocery shopping for the van yesterday, but there are a few ingredients I need to get for dinner tonight. Oh, and also I did get a few new things for the van, a few small things. I got this new like phone holder right here, so I don't have to have it over here and kind of have the wire draping all the way over there. And then I also got my first mirror in the van. It's super small. It's actually meant for like to clip onto one of these things right here, but I just put some sticky tape on the back and installed it right here. So now I have a little mirror where I can look at myself and actually make sure I don't look like a complete hobo before I leave the van. So that's nice. Anyways, let's hit the road, go to the grocery store, and then head over to our campsite. And there we go. Pretty convenient to have a grocery store a minute away when I need to go.
$5.29. Please remember.
All right, so we only needed a few things, and I've decided that I'm going to start doing simpler, healthier recipes that are still absolutely delicious, since I'm trying to lose weight, and kind of, for the most part, steer away from more extravagant, delicious, but unhealthy meals. But I will still occasionally cook those. So tonight, I'm going to be making some Korean barbecue shrimp rice bowls with some kimchi, and I was gonna make this kimchi fresh, but I don't have 1 to 4 days to let it ferment, so had to buy some pre-made stuff. Also, for anyone keeping track on the road trip total so far, we've driven 5,773 miles since we left Maryland, so driven quite a long way, and we're actually still extremely far from Alaska, so we've got a long way to go and maybe a lot more time to get there, depending on when I actually start making my way fully up north. Now let us begin the 2-hour and 13-minute drive over to Hurricane, Utah. All right, so the spot that we're going to camp at is essentially right out there in the field for that plateau in the distance. And I was worried about snow melt and maybe the ground being muddy, but looking at where we are, it doesn't look like it is. So I don't think that should be an issue for pulling in here and finding a campsite for the night, but hopefully it's not too crowded, because sometimes these BLM spots just outside of national parks can get a little packed. There's the sign, "Your public lands, free to use for camping." Oof. Not the best exit off of the road there, but looks like there might be some muddy patches, but this is pretty solid road that we're driving down here. There you go, there's a sign, 14-day camping limit, so you can only stay here for a maximum of 14 days in the same spot. But it's kind of like honestly pointless, because there's like 15 or 20 spots down here. So realistically, you could just shift, like if you see all of those vans and stuff, you could shift one spot over and then it adds another 14 days. You just can't stay in the same spot for more than 14 days. I guess it's a good rule. We're gonna pull down here and see if we can find ourselves a designated campsite, because if you're not parked in a designated campsite and the ranger comes by, you can get kicked out. And this road is really rough. So many potholes. Ay, ay, ay. Definitely taking this one nice and slow. So it looks like that's a campsite right there that we could potentially take, but I don't really like that one that much, so we're gonna drive back in here and see if we can find something better. Worst case, come back and take that one. This is easily the worst off-roading road I've ever driven on, but I think I'm gonna take that campsite that is right there. There's a little fire pit, and it's got a good view of the stuff in the distance. Maybe I'll take that one up there, actually. Yeah, we're gonna take this one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull up right here, and this is where we will call home for the night. There we go. Whew. It is a beautiful day out. 60 degrees, sunny, beautiful landscape, pretty much 360 all around. We even got some snow-capped mountains over there. Absolutely stunning. It does look like, though, that it gets pretty muddy and dicey out here when it rains, and it's supposed to rain on Saturday, but that's 2 days from now, and the weather for the next 2 days is dry, so we are more than good to make it out of here because we made it in. We'll just avoid all of these little kind of water and puddly sections, and we'll just have to take it slow because the road in here is super potholed. Absolutely stunning spot. This is actually the third time in the last 3 years that I've stayed at this spot. I've actually only been into Zion one time, 2 years ago, and I hiked up Angel's Landing, but now you need a permit for it because I guess the park is too popular, and I applied for the lottery to get a permit to hike Angel's Landing yesterday, but sadly I wasn't selected, and that is kind of the main reason why I want to go into Zion is to hike Angel's Landing, because that hike is one of the most spectacular hikes in the country, and it just doesn't feel I'm gonna do the park justice without doing that hike. So I haven't decided whether I'm actually gonna go in the park right now because I will be back here in a few months. And I do want to hike Angel's Landing, so I don't know. And yes, I could put it off a few days and go in a few days, but tomorrow I can't do it. And then it's supposed to rain the next day, and then the next day after that. So I can't do it those days. So I'd have to wait here for 3 or 4 days in order to try the lottery again. So I don't know. We'll see how I feel in the morning, and I guess you guys will find out on Sunday if I actually go into Zion tomorrow or not, because that'll be my next video. But campsite is nice. There's no wind and no bugs. Really can't complain. It is supposed to get cold tonight, but I sleep better in the cold anyway, so not really worried about it. So I actually think before I get started on making dinner, I'm gonna go walk around and kind of check out this campsite, because last time I was here, it seems like so much changes in between the summers when I travel. So like every single summer when I pull into a spot, I'm expecting the same thing, but it's always completely different, and there's new rules, there's new regulations, there's different campsites, the ground has completely changed from rain or something like that. And last time I was here, I pulled all the way down there to the edge of this canyon and camped down there. When I was pulling in here, I noticed some signs that say that that's actually private property now. So I'm gonna walk over there and show you guys the campsite that I stayed in last time, just because it's been a while since I've been back there, so I want to go kind of check it out. Yeah, see, so there's all these new signs here that say private property, no trespassing. I'm just gonna walk in there real quick and show you guys the campsite where I stayed at, because it was actually a pretty spectacular campsite. So I kind of pulled in down here and around back to right there. And the reason that this campsite was so cool, and it looks like it gets really muddy in here. Someone definitely got a little bit stuck or had a fun time getting out of that. But the reason that this campsite was so cool is because it has this fire pit right here. It's secluded from all of the other campsites, and it looks over this canyon that's just stunning. And having this kind of private and all to yourself is kind of nice. So I was really excited when I found this spot, and then it was really sad finding out that I can't use it anymore. I guess that's just how it goes sometimes. But anyways, I mean, look at this. I don't get why anyone would ever pay for a campsite, especially out west when there's so much of this just stunning free camping all over the place. I don't even understand how campsites make money. I guess it's just maybe people don't know about it. I don't really know. But I've lived in my van for over 2 years, and I've paid for a campsite maybe twice. And that's why I always tell people that van life is pretty much as expensive as you make it. Throw a bed in the back of your car and you can basically travel the entire country for free, second to paying for gas. And the reason that I say that is because in a lot of ways I feel like if I had a lot less stuff and I had a lot more simpler of a build, I think borderline I would be just as happy doing something like this. Maybe not 100% full time, but if I had a truck with a bed in the back and a little cooler, I still think I would have just as good of a time. I think the only thing that would really get to me is not being able to stand. inside your vehicle. That I can see getting pretty old pretty fast, but other than that, I don't know. I do plan on doing a bit of truck camping in the future and getting some other rigs and trying out some things and kind of just seeing what the ultimate full-time rig would be. That's for another time, and that's for a future video. Right now, I think I'm gonna get started on making some dinner because I am starving. Also, another reason why I wanted to do a poll and see what you guys thought about possibly postponing the trip to Alaska is because at the end of the day, you guys are my companions on this trip, and I didn't want to make kind of any executive decisions without at least first hearing your guys' opinions on what you thought about it and seeing what you guys think the best decision is. I trust you guys, and I think I'll pretty much go with whatever you guys say. So I guess we'll see in a few days. So first thing I'm gonna do is make some rice for the base of this Korean barbecue shrimp bowl, and I don't have regular rice, and I thought about buying some at the store. It just felt a little bit unnecessary because I have 2 boxes of this minute rice that I need to use anyways. The convenience of this is just worth a little bit more than that extra additional flavor you get from regular rice. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did wipe down my stove. I get comments about that all the time, so there you go. I hope you're happy. Fire for that turned on. And we'll start prepping all of our other ingredients. So going in this bowl, we've got some onions, some kimchi, some baby bok choy, and then some cilantro, and then some salt going in the rice. And then also, obviously, shrimp seasoned with Korean barbecue sauce. And there we go. And I figured out a way that actually works to avoid crying when I dice onions, and that is to just not dice them and buy the prepackaged diced onions. So now I don't have to worry about it. So while we wait for the rice to boil and get cooking, I'm gonna start cooking down these veggies. So this isn't really a recipe that I'm following, it's kind of just something I'm making up as I go because I really love Korean food and Korean inspired food, so really trying to embody that here. And then honestly, I've just been looking for something to use this with. Some of these spicy chili crisps, so I'm gonna add those on top of the bok choy. Get those onions in there. With a little bit of minced garlic. It looks like that water is boiling, so I'm gonna go ahead and add our rice real quick. And now, we can add the bok choy into the onions. Alright, so while we wait for that bok choy to finish cooking, I'm gonna get started on prepping the shrimp too. Pat it dry. And I forgot to add the spicy chili crisp to this. Look at that. Oh, it smells so good too. That looks delicious. Anyways, back to the shrimp. Hit these with a little salt, some crushed black pepper. Give them a little toss, and those should be good to go. Set that aside. And I'm just going to hit them with a little bit of the bulgogi sauce while they're in the pan, and then the rest will come after they're already done cooking. Alrighty, those look like they're just about done and look delicious, so I'm going to pull those out. Set them in there. Lost one. And then I'm going to take a little bit more of this bulgogi sauce and add it into the pan, cook that down, and then that'll be like a little drizzle on the top after we're done. And while we wait for this sauce to cook down, I'll use this to shamelessly plug my merch again. So I have these hoodies. They are the topographic map of Ryan Mountain with the coordinates on the back. I have hoodies, I have t-shirts, I have stickers. There's a bunch of stuff on the link in my website in the description. So if you've ever looked at this hoodie and thought it was cool, you can go to the link below and get yourself one. I really like it. I think it's super comfortable, and I'm going to be coming out with a bunch more new merch soon too as well. Oh, and also there's actually one more thing we need to do. Now that this rice is done, you can add just a touch of salt to that, and then some cilantro, and mix all that up. And I think the sauce is kind of cooked down good enough. It was already a pretty thick sauce to begin with, so didn't really need much. So we'll go ahead and turn the heat off of that, get everything plated up, and then eat, because I am starving. And what a nice view to have dinner with. B-E-A, beautiful. Get some rice in there as the base. And we can add in some of that bok choy mixture, some of the shrimp, and then some of this delicious looking kimchi. And then just because I'm extra, I'm gonna top all of that off with a little bit of sriracha. Some of that sauce that we made. And then some sesame seeds. And now we are ready to eat. I will take it out in the sun for you real quick so you can appreciate its true beauty. And that looks delicious. So let's eat. Try to get a little bit of everything in our first bite. Some bok choy, some kimchi, some shrimp. There we go. Cheers. Let's see how it tastes. That is really good. That bok choy with the chili pepper sauce on it. So good. Also, I've never had that brand of kimchi before, but that is also really good too. And this is probably the meal that I'm most proud of making so far on the channel, just because it's an original idea and it's an original meal that I just kind of came up with. I'm very glad that it turned out good. I mean, tell me that isn't beautiful. One of my favorite kinds of food in the entire world. Living in the back of my van. Spectacular views. I really don't think I could ask for more. Being out here just makes me realize how truly blessed I am to live in such a beautifully stunning country. There really is so much to explore in America. And I've been doing it for 2 years and I've barely even scratched the surface. All right, dinner was delicious. We even got some leftovers for tomorrow. But I think it's time to clean up this mess and make the van look a little bit nicer. All right, there we go. It's mostly clean. Still got to do my dishes, but we are officially down to our last click chair, because if you watch my video in Sedona, you will know that I left my last one behind. So we can't forget this one this time. I've been thinking about getting one of those propane fire pits so that I can light fires out here, even when there's a burn ban, because it seems like a lot of the West Coast is constantly in a burn ban. Maybe this summer will be a little bit different since they got so much rain, but it would be nice to sit out here with a fire. Sunset going on over there is pretty nice. Cliffs over there look super nice in the sunset. All right, so I had to take a quick meeting, but look at this sunset. It's like cotton candy skies. That is pretty spectacular. Does not get much better than that. Oh, this is a pretty cool campsite. Snowy peaks in the background, sunset. It's getting a little cold out here though. I think it's like 40 degrees, and it's supposed to get pretty cold tonight too, so probably gonna have to hunker down here in a minute and get the doors closed. Maybe turn the heater on. I don't know. I don't really use the heater that often unless it gets really, really cold. Typically I'm more than fine just under some covers or something. And honestly, if these clouds kind of pass over and hold off, I might try to see if I can get my camera settings right and get some footage of the stars out here, because that is easily one of my favorite things about coming out to places like this and camping, is looking up and seeing all of the stars and the outline of the Milky Way galaxy. It's spectacular, especially with me being a space nerd. So, but man, it's getting cold out there. And I'm definitely going to preemptively bring that chair in, because knowing myself, I'm going to forget it again. Also, regardless of what I do with going to Alaska, I think I'm going to upgrade myself and get Starlink before I head up there, just so I have service in some of those remote areas. One, so that I can continue uploading these videos regardless of where I am. And two, it opens up more places that I can go. And three, I can play Xbox up there. But anyways, it's starting to get dark, so I'm gonna hunker down in the van, hang out for a little bit, and then step outside a little bit later and see if we can see some stars. Got one. I'm trying. Got him. Woo! All right, so I just finished playing Xbox, and I'll overlay it right now, but I had my camera set up outside recording some of the stars to hopefully get some good footage, but I didn't realize that it's actually a completely full moon out tonight. I don't know if you guys can see it off there. My finger's going across it, but that's the moon. It's super bright out, so stars tonight are not too spectacular. It's also kind of cloudy, so not a good night for viewing the stars out here. I think I might actually crank my heater on for a minute, let it warm up before I go to bed. I like to turn that thing on for like 20 minutes or so right before I go to bed to get the van nice and toasty. And then usually I'll turn it off before I go to sleep, and then if I'm cold in the morning, I'll turn it on again. But it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, so I don't think I'll need it when I wake up. Anyways, it is like 10 p.m. and I am getting tired, so I think I'm gonna head to bed, and I will check in with you guys in the morning. Good morning, and welcome back to another beautiful day living in the van. So at some point last night before I went to bed, I made the decision that I'm not going to be heading into Zion National Park today, and I'm kind of just going to hold off on heading through there until I get the results from the poll back, and I really don't want to go in there without being able to hike Angel's Landing because, in my opinion, that's one of the coolest parts of the park. I'm actually pumped because it's supposed to be super nice out, but I'm not going to be staying here again tonight because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. I don't want to get stuck in any mud. Looks like there's a few new people pulled up over there. Those people were there yesterday. And then there's also another new RV that's behind me over there. But last night, when I turned my heater on, I noticed that there was like a super weird, like burnt smell coming from it. And then after about 3 minutes of being on, it kicked off and I got the error code E08, which means that it's not getting enough fuel. So I walked outside, got my flashlight out to check it out. And if you come under here, you can see right here is the cold air intake for my diesel heater, and right here is like the exhaust that comes out the back. And this entire cold air intake was stuffed full. You can see the ribs that it left from the imprint on the inside of the pipe was just stuffed full of this like mud from when I got stuck in the mud the other day. So there was no air getting in there, so that was causing that burning smell. And also my fuel pump, which I had mounted up right here, has broken loose, so I'm gonna have to reattach that and get a new filter for my air intake so that that doesn't happen again and doesn't get stuffed with mud. I got it all cleared out last night and then turned it back on and it worked fine, so it wasn't too big of an issue. But yeah, Zion is basically directly over that way somewhere, but we will save that for another time, and I'm gonna kind of just wait and see what the results of this poll are and then figure out where we're going from here. But as always, I truly appreciate you guys watching. It really does mean the absolute world to me, and I'm really grateful that I have so many amazing people that I get to share this lifestyle with. It really is awesome. It doesn't matter to me, subscribed, unsubscribed, comment, no comment. I truly, truly just appreciate you guys watching. But I think that's where I'm going to end this video. So go down below, cast your vote, and then check in Sunday to see what the plan is. For now, I think I'm gonna get out of this spot, find somewhere else. I'll catch you guys next time.